Hi, my name is Nora and I have a cleft lip makeup tutorial for you today. I was born with a bilateral cleft lip and palate, and so that means that on both sides of my face it kind of didn't form like it was supposed to. And so over the past 22 years I have gained a lot of experience in how to work with what it looks like to have a cleft palate. I wanted to make this video as all-encompassing as possible, so I've tried to include some tips that are usable for children, women, even men, and people of all ages who have a cleft lip and palate. Quick disclaimer, I am not an expert on makeup or any sort of makeup artist, so to speak. This is just what I've learned through trial and error over the past 22 years. I understand that some parents and guardians might not be comfortable with letting their young ones wear makeup at a younger age, and I totally understand that. I was not allowed to wear makeup until I was older as well. I think that it would have saved me a lot of strife and anxiety, and it would have made me feel safer in school hallways and schoolyards if I had been able to cover up the scarring, especially right after a new surgery. I also think that this is a golden opportunity for you to be able to talk to someone who has a cleft palate just about what it feels like to walk around and know that there's something right in the middle of your face that people can see that is different. Today I've gathered a list of tips for you on how to work with your cleft palate using makeup. So before we get into the real heavy makeup, I wanted to share with you a tip that a surgeon actually shared with me, and that is to use vitamin E oil. There we go. And so the point of this is that vitamin E oil really helps break up the scar tissue, so right after a surgery, you should be massaging the oil into your skin so that it doesn't get that hard, callousy buildup, and it'll help you later on when you want to make a smooth upper lip. My next tip that I have for you centers around water, and that can be a real foe to anyone who has a cleft lip and palate. And I mean that because a lot of times patients like us don't get all the way airtight in the roof of our mouth, which means that liquid and water can seep through the top, come out our nose, and right onto this area here. So one thing that I've learned that helps prevent messing up the makeup there is getting a good setting spray. So this is e.l.f., but it's just honestly any kind of setting spray that you can have, and that just helps lock the makeup in place so that no matter what, if it's water, if it's a tissue, whatever it may be, the makeup won't move and you won't have to reapply. But in the event that you do have to reapply because it did come off a little bit, I always carry a little thing of concealer in my purse just to make sure that if something happens, I just pop it to a bathroom and apply it right back on. The next big tip that I have for you involves concealer. So concealer does a wonderful job of hiding just this area. This is a great tip for people who are younger ages and they don't want to wear a full face of makeup, or people who don't want people to know that they're wearing a whole lot of makeup, which could mean guys or people that are working or anyone like that. Now there are two big catches when it comes to concealer. The first one, especially for cleft lip and palate patients, is making sure you build it up on the areas where it's a valley and not a peak for your scars. So a lot of times that's the red area right here that kind of divots in, and so if you build that up, it becomes a smooth surface and it looks much more like a traditional upper lip. My second big point about this is that just like wearing foundation, if your skin color changes, your concealer does not change with it. So be careful, because I have definitely been a victim of walking around with an orange mustache right here. So the first one that I ever use is this Instant Age Rewind. And it's technically for the circles under your eyes right here. But what I like about it is that it has this nice little cushion here. And all you do, you don't need to carry an extra brush, you just pump it out and then you swipe right here, blend it in a little bit, and then you're good to go. The next concealer that I want to show you is the Tarte brand. So what I like about this is it's cruelty free, if that's important to you, and it comes in this little lipstick tube. So you just pop the lid off and it rolls up just like lipstick. And what I like about this is that it's already a thicker material, kind of like lipstick is, and so you really don't have to work a whole lot at building up the material. I actually took this one with me to Hawaii, and that was all I needed, especially in that humid weather. The next concealer I want to show you is called Bling. And what I like about this one is that it is industrial strength concealer. And so industrial strength really helps for those tips that I talked about where we get water coming through here, tissues going there. And it comes like this, so it's kind of a cream. And you can use a brush. Honestly, sometimes I just use my finger. I'm not super picky. So you just dab it right here, swipe it on like that, and then you're good to go. The last concealer that I want to show you is the one that I use today, and this is by Lancome. And it's cool because it kind of comes out like those old lip smacker brushes, like that. Sorry, my brush is a little messy. So one thing I use with it is this little makeup brush. It's got kind of a bristly end. And this is just the cheapest brush I could find. There wasn't a real need to break the bank on that. So the first thing I do is just swipe a little bit right here. Then I take my brush, dab, dab, dab. And I try to build it up right here where I know it's a little bit more red. Last but not least, ta-da! The next tip that I have for you involves lip liner, and I know that it sounds crazy, but it's actually incredibly useful. So a lot of surgeons try to create the shape of the upper lip, and so many times that's the Cupid's bow where it goes up and it divots a little bit and it goes back down, or it's just a total semicircle. This is also a great tip for people who don't have a bilateral cleft lip but a unilateral, so just one side. For me, having a bilateral one, it provided some symmetry, so it met right in the middle. But I know for a lot of other people, their lip can pull to one side, and so this way you can kind of draw in the shape that you want. So the two lip liners that I've used are Urban Decay 24/7 and, surprise, surprise, the Kylie Lip Kit. Now, I am not a huge follower of the Jenner Kardashian franchise, but I really like this product because this color is called Smile, and it goes to support the Smile Train, which is an organization that helps people like us with cleft lips and palates, and especially babies who need those surgeries right away. So in this lip kit come two parts. The first part is the lip liner. The second part is the lipstick. Now first, in order to show you what I mean by shaping your upper lip, I'm going to really overdo it with the concealer just to show you the dramatic effect. One thing that men can do that women typically can't is grow a mustache. One tip that I've learned from my guy friends who use a mustache to cover up their cleft lip is something that women use oftentimes, but for our eyebrows. So today, I have an eyebrow pencil, brush, and gel. Now this oftentimes works if you have a little bit of hair already, not just really starting from scratch, but essentially what you would do is get a thin enough pencil that you can mimic the hairs to blend in. You brush them in place the way you want to using the end of the brush, like so. And then once you have them into place, especially if they're covering what may be some bald spots, is you lock it in with this eyebrow gel. And no one will be the wiser. The final point that I want to make is that I believe that behind every person who has a cleft lip and palate is a team of people. And so on that team, I'm counting your medical personnel, which is your doctors, your surgeons, your anesthesiologists, your pulmonologists, speech therapists, nurses, orthodontists, dentists, but also the people that help you in the best way that they know how. And so in there, I'm including your parents who hold your hand after every surgery. I'm including your friends who stick up for you in the hallway when they hear a mean comment. Also in there are the people who work on a daily basis for these organizations to make sure our lives are better. But I also hope that you now include me in there, and this is just the best way that I know how to help you from where I am and where you are. And without further ado, I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. One last product placement I forgot. Mustaches and Soul Patches by, it says cereal aisle. Good things.